Hi, my name is Sridhar Rangayan. I'm the festival director of Kashish Pride Film Festival, which is having its online edition from August 15th to September 15th on movie platform. And really happy to have this conversation with the director and cast member of the film, Call Me Agnes. So we have Daniel Donato, who's a returning filmmaker. Daniel Donato holds a bachelor degree in filmmaking, specialist in cinematography. Okay, I didn't know that. As a director, his last film, Hello, My First Love, Over and Out, premiered in the opening scenes section of the 39th Visions to Reel. As a cinematographer, his work is screened at important film festivals such as Locarno Film Festival, Sheffield Doc Fest, Talk, Leipzig, Netherlands Film Festival, Helsinki International Film Festival, Uppsala International Short Film Festival. Call Me Agnes is his first feature film. Wow, congratulations. And it's doing well. We're going to figure out why he made this film and how it's being received across the world. And I want to introduce Agnes Geneva, who is the lead actress of this film. But the actress protagonist, we're going to figure out how we're going to address her. Agnes Geneva is a singer, performer, and actress. She has been a regular vocalist at Trans Amsterdam. She has acted in the film Call Me Agnes and Hello, My First Love, Over and Out, which is again directed by Daniel. So she seems to be a favorite of Daniel. The synopsis of
Aku
Call Me
memiliki
Agnes reads like
kesempatan
this. Agnes' life
untuk
revolves around
membuat
playing badminton with a trio
suatu
of friends
cerita
and
yang
working
baru.
at a restaurant she set up inside her
Aku
home
berharap
with her best friend Rini.
adik
One day, her younger
kecilku
brother Indra arrives
ada di sini
looking for his
sekarang.
brother Hans. Agnes faces a dilemma: keep the life or tell the truth about who she is. The truth could give her a chance to reconcile with her brother, but it seems more difficult to reach than she thought. Agnes relives and reenacts her memories and life experiences in a mix between fiction, musical, and real life. And I want to introduce the moderator, the host of this evening, Nadika. Nadika is a kind of a writer, a sort of a researcher, and a bit of a teacher. That's cute. She's interested in cities, history and archaeology, gender and sexuality, internet technology, rights, and the intersections of these. Wow. After working in advertising and journalism, Nadika studied documentary and film production for her MA, working on many student and independent productions. She has also written for TV in Tamil and set up a digital magazine covering cinema in India. She reviews films for various publications. She does not watch streaming platforms, but may eventually clock the most hours spent on YouTube. Okay, that's so funny. So over to you, Nadika, to discuss the film.
Thanks, Sridhar. Uh, Hi, Daniel. Hi, Agnes. Welcome to the Kashish Film Festival digital edition. Very, very glad to have you both here. Um, I like to first of all congratulate you on the film. As someone who tries to get films done, I can imagine only how hard it must have been the process from start to finish. So, congratulations on getting it done and getting it screened. And thanks for coming to Kashish with the film. Um, I want to start off by asking, where did the idea for the film come from? I know you mentioned that Daniel, that you've met Agnes multiple times, especially when they moved to Netherlands, and having conversations. Both of you have had conversations with each other. How did that sort of go into this film?
Okay, I can start. Hi, thank you so much. It's really nice to be in the festival. Yeah, I think in 2015 I moved to the Netherlands to do my master's there, and then before I was working with fiction, and then I was working a lot of documentary, and then I was looking to do something. I was like, okay, I'm looking for a character. Then I met Agnes, and then she was singing in a bar, and then we clicked like in that moment, and we became friends. And then I was like, okay, let's do something together. So that was 10 years ago, and then since then we've been collaborating in some short films. And I think for me, like the way that I wanted to tell my stories, the stories of people around me, like the characters that I wanted to, in the way that I want to do filmmaking, I think I evolved myself together working with Agnes. So it was, yeah, after doing the shorts and everything, I was like, okay, I want to do my first feature film. And then there was nobody else that I didn't want to do like with Agnes, and to keep our collaboration of working together, creating stories together. Agnes is also a scriptwriter of the film. So to do this together and then create a film. Yeah.
Agnes?
Yeah. Yeah, well, actually,
it's mostly like what Daniel has said. Then, but when also I remember when we were filming the film Hello Cinta Pertamaku that was in Lisbon, and we were kind of like playing about it and like imagining it, like how if we are ended up making like big films, and yeah, we were talking about it, just like making fun of it, and it's like out of nowhere, and here we are 5 years later, and Daniel came out to me, and I just want to make a my first feature film. And he came out to me and he was asking, I want to talk about your story, and let's write together. And um, we prepare all these things. And he was asking about the story, about the story that he never even knew before about me. And so we sat down together, and I was talking about my stories in the past. And then suddenly he was just like having ideas about things. And after that, because we also not only writing the film to only both of us, we also have Lucas, and Daniel also have contact with Lucas, and then they were also talking about it and telling about stories, and finally they came out with the ideas with the script, and I thought it was like amazing, but this is not easy. At the beginning, it was just not like really that simple because suddenly I got like a cold feet. I am like kind of like scared. I'm like feel like, oh my gosh, this is gonna happen, And if people gonna see me on the big screen, and how people gonna find out and not gonna, knew my true story about my background and what gonna happen with me in the past and stuff like that. So I was like disappeared like for 3 months, and Daniel kept trying to contacting me, but I didn't contact him back. Uh, but finally, he reached out to my partner, and suddenly my partner pushed me and so like, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be fine. And yes, and finally I we look up to the script, and then this is what I'm telling Daniel, this is what I want, and this is what I don't want, and we have discussed about it really like uh, very uh, yeah, very how to say, um, that he really like, yeah, that like he just really like trusting me, like he said that I'm not gonna hurt you, I'm not gonna put you into some trouble and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a really beautiful film about you. And finally I say yes. And the process also is not that easy because of course we still need some funds, and Daniel kept writing about it, and I trusted him 100%. And after a few years, here we are, it's like very humbly proud of us that we have done this. And yeah, I'm very happy that I'm doing this with him.
I'll go into a few more things about the film later, but I also want to ask about Daniel, especially because the film has these multiple sort of modes in it, right? There's a little bit of it starts with a little bit of a sort of a choreographed comedy sort of a thing where Agnes and Agnes's friends, we are all sort of in a big sort of a gym space, kind of a place, and you're playing, and then there's running, and there's a little bit of a choreographed comedy, and then we go into some kind of sort of a family drama sort of a thing, and then we exit, and there's a documentary sort of a mode. So I want to understand why was the decision to mix all these formats taken? What was the thought process behind that?
Yeah, I think my first idea was actually to play with this idea with fiction and documentary, fictionally reality. Like everything comes from Agnes' life story somehow. Like the people on the badminton are her real friends that they used to play badminton. So everything comes from that. But we use fiction as a way of to detach a little bit of reality and to think a bit about the new realities. What would happen if something was different? What would happen if in that case the brother would come. But also in my mind, I was thinking like, what it means queer cinema, you know? It's a film that actually is made by it's film that is made by queer people. It's actually having queer characters, or actually there's a queer cinematic language that's always evolving and changing itself. So for me, it was kind of sort of also an experiment, also what the film would actually ask in the moment. I think that's also like Agnes. I met her when she was singing. I knew that I wanted to put songs in the film. So kind of like we're mixing all these genres to see what we would come up with.
Yeah, Daniel is always a big support of me. So whenever we went somewhere, and he always like, you have to sing. So that's also when the first time we met, because when I was performing at the club, at the bar, and sorry, at the bar, and then he was really like saw me for the first time. He was really like amazed at what I'm doing, and so that's why also he wanted to make in this film that sort of like, I'm not just telling the story, but I also want you to sing in this film, to also want to show what you can do as you are. And the other comedy part, actually, because most of the characters that play in our film, they are a true character. They are like, for example, people on the badminton. They are really friends of mine. And also Rini is also my best friend. We were also before we worked together. And Rini character in this film, she bringing comedy, and but in real life, that's how she is. She's always like fun. She's always like
He
making
is amazing. Yeah.
absolutely. So that's why at the beginning, because um, when Daniel also pointed out that I want Rini also in the film, because I love her to be in, to be in this character of in our film. And I said like, okay, this is gonna be really a big challenge, because I think it's a matter of language and stuff, but with 100% optimism that we prepared like for 2 years. We sat together and we practiced about the 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 script and the language, because in this film also we use a lot of language. And yeah, finally we are so happy that this all comes together. And yeah, and we hope that people are also could feel, and could see that this film is not only fiction, but also you can also see the reality.
Um, I want to ask in terms of the film is running for about an hour and a half. It's about 95-ish minutes, right? Um, so there are parts of the film where visually we don't see much happening. The sort of the piece to camera bits that Agnes is talking about. The past and the brother and the relationship, or the person who's the sort of the boyfriend, the person who comes to deliver and pick up food, and then there's a lots of bits where the person is just sitting on their bike and then sort of talking about their past. So in terms of visual, there's it seems to be sort of locked off in a very specific documentary mode, but was that cost for, did you all think about how will that will play out? What is the logic for putting that in those particular places? Why not either forward or backward? Those kinds of things in terms of scripting, I'm asking you.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. I know when we were actually writing the script and creating the film, I was talking with Lucas that, okay, we have this conflict in the beginning, right? The brother came, what's
Yes.
going to happen? But we're thinking like, is this important? Not at all for us. Like, this is just to beginning the story, like what we actually wanted to and doing, because also that's the thing. We wrote the script and then we were 1 year rehearsing it. Because nobody's an actor. So even the brother that it was Gianluca wanted to be an actor, but I met him and he said, my sister is trans and I want to make the film for her. And I was like, okay, you're hired. So we spent time actually rehearsing and trying to find the scenes, and every character has a sort of a monologue. So actually working these monologues. Then at some point I was looking also like I want to spend. Doesn't matter what happened. Doesn't matter if the brother stays or goes. It's also really. Let's not define Agnes' story as this, you know. Let's spend time with the characters. I'm also really fan of slow cinema. So for me, just to look and spend time with the characters, it's what I like in cinema, you know. So that's what we're looking for, to spend some time with them and actually show this idea of like this found family that they have together, you know, that they immigrants in a different country, but they have each other. And then I think the film is more about that, the sense of family, the sense of belonging and finding people that are like you, and you can create
Yeah.
some sort of family.
And there's a very lovely bit. I think it's Agnes who says, "This is my brother, but he's just an actor. He's not really my brother, but it looks like my." There's a very interesting little bit of meta commentary there, and that was interesting. I found. Um, uh, how about you, Agnes? So, is this an actual? Because I'll tell you, because my brother is coming tomorrow. I live in Bangalore in India. My brother's coming from Singapore. Uh, I love my brother, but I'm also a little worried about what he's going to say about me, all those things. So, how was that? I mean, how did that work for you? Knowing that somebody like this brother is there, but there's also another person who's playing that character for you in the film, and the kind of interactions there. How was that for you?
Well, because for me, it is kind of this film is also like a challenge for me, because in the way it is a film, but it's also when we are filming and when preparing for to act through this film, it's like is giving me some kind of like a feeling that how if this is really happens, like the the fear, the chaos in my mind, it's like how if this is really true that my brother is coming here, and without I know with and prepared that he doesn't know that I'm a trans, and all that kind of stuff. But also it's like what Daniel also say, that he really totally give us, like, we also have a script, but then also for me as an actor is also he give me also sort of kind of some sort of a freedom to express myself, and how if that's in the position, how are you going to react. So here and there I also do some improvised things, and it's sort of like it speak for itself. Uh, in the end I thought like, for if I look it back now, for real life, that I feel like I'm ready, because I'm not afraid anymore. It's gonna help me also as a personal being, that I am not afraid anymore. Even now, the films are already like everywhere. It's like now it's in India, and we also have some other festival in Europe. I'm totally free. And this also kind of like, for me, I said to a lot of people that I said, this film is also kind of like coming out for me. That finally I could accept myself, that I'm not afraid anymore, that if I'm trans, I'm proud of myself. And even though if my family will find out, then I'm not afraid. So yeah, I'm very happy that I'm done. I'm doing this, and yeah.
There's a moment in the film where we see Agnes in her room, sort of, and then there's a prayer, and you sit down to do your prayers. And that was, I found that very interesting, and suddenly it's coming from, for me, I felt it was coming from nowhere, and I want you to tell me a little bit about it. I know it's important for you, and I'm assuming that it's very important, but I want you to tell me a lot more about that bit, the where performing the prayers in the room, and there's a little bit of a pause between prayer, and then you go back to it. So I want you to talk about that.
You mean the first songs when the camera from?
No, no. Later on in the film, I think inside the room doing namaz.
It's Rini. Rini is praying.
Oh, Rini is praying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Rini is praying. So, okay. I'm sorry. I must have assumed wrong. So yeah, Rini is praying. So, what was the thought process in that? Um, okay, sorry. I think I assumed that for some reason I thought that was Agnes praying. So I'm so sorry about that.
No,
Um,
it's okay.
No, it's really, but for us was more because also that's the thing, the complexity of the
yeah
characters. We wanted
yeah
to actually,
yeah I get that. I get. Yeah.
we wanted to put in the film because Rini is this funny, light person, but also she has the side that's also really religious. That's completely opposite
Yeah.
of what she is
Yes.
Yeah.
as a person, as a drag queen. But also when Rini prays, she dressed as a man. He's Muslim. You know, it's
Yes.
like that's this dichotomy. Like Rini is a person that she changes how she wants, and then she doesn't care. So actually, I wanted to put that in the film because she also was really happy to show that side of her in the film. That was a moment
Yeah.
of because Amy is this complex character that she believes in the goddess.
Yeah.
That's but also she really believes in.
And comes as a contrast where when Agnes, the brother character, and Rini, and then Rini hurts the finger, and Agnes says, "Go, get get going." So there's a little bit of a contrast there. That was very nice. Um, the boyfriend person, the character, um, was there was there a understanding that it'll be sort of left open ended because towards the end, we just see them sitting outside and on a bench and eating something, but then there's nothing else there. That's almost like there's no conversation there. There's very sort of one or two words here and there, but there's no. So were there drafts where there was a little bit more happening in that area, or was it just all along just to be on that little sort of even tone throughout?
I think in terms of the script, I think this is kind of comes from the short film that's like there was about Agnes' first love, so it was a little bit there. But the whole idea of Diego's character is also like in the end, they're just comfortable with each other. And if you're comfortable with each other, we don't need to say anything, right? But I think also the construction of the character comes a lot from my friendship with Agnes. Somehow I have a little bit of myself there, a little bit of Fernando also, the actor. So we kind of matched that to create this character that and then also not put so much emphasis in this romantic love because I think when
Yes.
Agnes is singing as a goddess, is more about like this love about around herself, from everybody. It's not just romantic.
Yeah. Um, I want to ask about the film itself in terms of the production process. I know it's funded by the Netherlands, the Creative Fund of Netherlands, and so what is the process there? And then from there, where has the film gone? How has been the reception for the film in various places, Lesboa and places like that? What are the conversations around that like?
Yeah, funding. It took like long years, but yeah, we start with actually small development and actually with some funds for artists, actually research, and then I started to develop the film together with Agnes and Lucas. And at some point, we're really happy to get this 90% of the film is funded by the Netherlands Film Fund. So it's also a big chunk of money that actually made it happen. So it took a long time, but we managed that. With the festivals, it's going to a lot of places. I'm really happy. But they made me think a lot also about how important queer festivals are. Because when you are in other festivals, it's highly competitive. We really need these queer spaces that we can show the films because otherwise, in other festivals are really the small quota they have to. So yeah, I think it's really happy that these places exist, these festivals like Kashish exist because we need to show what we do. We need to show to our audience.
Are there more films coming up between the two of you?
I hope so. I think that actually for me, it's a long process. It took like this year at least 5 years of my life. So to
Yeah,
finish that, to kind of like, but you still need to work and do other things. So yeah, I hope so. If you have to heal a little bit and enjoy what's happening now, and then go to the next
Yes,
one.
it's a well deserved.
Mhm.
Agnes, what about you? Are you doing other things? What are you planning? I mean, what is next on the cards for you?
well, I am still, of course, performing as my regular performing because, as you mentioned before, I'm also active with the Trans Amsterdam
That-
organization. So that's what I do. And aside of that, I'm also still doing my regular job. So yeah, we say like also sometime here and there we have like plans with Daniels, like what we're gonna do for the future, But the option is always open. So yeah, we never know.
So thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. Thank you, Nadika, for your beautiful questions, and thank you, Daniel and Agnes, for answering so
Thank you
brilliantly.
so much.
So thank you for making this beautiful film, and we hope to bring
Thank you
you,
so much.
Agnes, to India sometime to perform at the Kashish Film Festival. We have had trans performers
I would
from
love
Canada
to.
and Singapore in the past. Singapore, there's a transgender performer who came from Singapore, and also from Montreal. We've had beautiful performances. Hopefully, we'll have you someday soon. No, Kashish.
I would love to.
That'd
Thank you.
be
Thank you so
amazing.
much. And thank you, Nadika, for hosting. Thank you, Daniel and Agnes, for
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nanchu.
joining in. And please watch this film at the Kashish Online Film Festival, all of you. And there are 90 more films to watch. So please subscribe or pay per view, whatever format you want to do. Please watch these films. We have put it together with a lot of care. And thank you to the filmmakers who have so generously supported the film festival by giving their films to for us to watch. So thank you, Daniel and Agnes, so much for doing this.
Thank you for having us.